Today, I will be using a full team of Pokemon based on Pride Flags. If you enjoy this kind of Pride Flag Pokemon theme team content, then feel free to subscribe. I upload this kind of content on a regular basis, and it would really help for more people to see these kinds of videos. Now let's get right into the battles. Good morning, afternoon, and evening, lovely people. Today I am using the 11th Pride Flag team. This puts us at 66 Pride Flags, getting very close to that 100 end goal and very close to the 3/4 mark. Now, if you want to see more of these Pride Flag teams, as always, if this video gets 25 likes, I will move on to the 12th Pride Flag team. I'm really excited for this specific Pride Flag team, of course. And if you have any gender identities or sexualities that haven't been featured on a Pride Flag team that you would like to see, then please comment it down below and I'll be sure to include it in the next one. So, I'm going to lead off here with my Alolan Sandslash here for the Boy Flux flag. Now, I had the Gender Flux flag in a previous video, so I thought to include the Boy Flux flag. That was a Focus Sash Endeavor set. So, this Landorus here. Okay, I'm so excited about this Pokemon specifically because Landorus is like the most testosterone Pokemon ever, and I have it here for the Paragirl flag. And here's the Paraboy flag for Thundurus. I thought that, Paraboy and Paragirl, I wanted to obviously relate them both, like I did with the Demiboy and Demigirl flag. So I have the two Therian form Pokemon to represent the Paragirl and the Paraboy flag, just because I thought Thundurus was a good representation. Now, I'm running a Choice Scarf on that, and unfortunately the Gliscor swaps in, so I'm going to swap in my Gender Blank flag here. For Vivian, the snow pattern, I would have used Castform if that was in the game, because Castform matched the colors of the flag perfectly, as well as kind of the design. But, I ended up using Vivian, which also isn't a bad fit for this. Now, the Gliscor is going to Toxic V, and I'm going to go for the Hurricane this turn. I'm running an all-out offensive Vivian with heavy-duty boots. I have Hurricane, I have Bug Buzz. I actually have Weather Ball on this set, which I was thinking maybe I could make use of the Weather Ball with the rain, right? I have U-Turn as my final move on this as well. So the Archaludon comes in. I'm thinking, yeah, this is definitely like going to be a rain-sweeping Archaludon. I'm going to swap in regular Sandslash for the Girl Flux flag. So I have Alolan Sandslash and regular Sandslash, their shiny variants, for the Boy and Girl Flux flags. I thought that this Shining Sandslash specifically matched the colors of the Girl Flux flag very well. So this is a specially defensive assault vested Sandslash. So that Flash Cannon does less than half of my HP, so I was able to tank it. But they're gonna go for the Draco Meteor, obviously, and that's gonna take me out. But I do some good chip damage with the Earthquake, and I thought, okay, well, I'm gonna bring in my Landorus here. I'm running a very standard kind of Landorus set. In a sense, I'm running Taunt on this, U-Turn, Earth Power, and Grass Knot. So it's like a special Landorus. The Earth Power is going to hit the Ogerpon Wellspring incoming. I actually went for the U-Turn on the previous turn, but I didn't think that they would. I thought that they might have maybe potentially stayed in with their Archaludon, which is why I went for the Earth Power. But it's unfortunate because the Ogerpon is going to basically claim a free KO. And I'm very down in this battle, so I was like, I need to get back into this because I'm down 3-5 at the moment. So I have to make plays at this point. So the Gliscor comes in. I was like, okay, perfect. I'm running Terra Ice on this Thundurus Therian, and I have Terra Blast Ice, which is absolutely going to nuke the Gliscor incoming. So this set is like Volt Switch, Thunderbolt. I have Sludge Wave as well, and Terra Blast Ice on this. So going for that Terra Blast Ice, and that is easily going to be able to dispose of the Gliscor. So I was like, okay, that's really, really good. I can now go for Thunderbolts and Volt Switches freely into their team, which is very nice. So I'm going to bring in my Landorus on the Archaludon. I kind of figured that they would go for the Flash Cannon, and my Terra Blast Ice was never KOing this Archaludon, especially if it was Assault Vested. So I thought, well, should I go for the Earth Power here or should I go for the U-Turn? I don't want their Ogerpon to come in again, and going for the U-Turn might be risky if they stay in, but I decided to go for the U-Turn anyway, and the Urshifu Rapid comes in. I was like, okay, that's good. I could easily bring in my Thundurus Therian and go for the Volt Switch, and that could give me momentum into whatever they decide to switch into, because obviously they're not going to stay in with the Urshifu. So they're going to bring back in the Archaludon. I'm going to go for the Volt Switch, and honestly, Para-Boy and Para-Girl, Lando and Thunderous, they actually make for a pretty good duo because Landorus can obviously U-turn, and then Thunderous could obviously like Volt Switch. It's actually a pretty good duo of Pokemon. They were meant for each other. It's just funny to me how I have Landorus Styrian here has the Para-Girl flag. Like Para-Girl is obviously based on Paragender, which I included in a previous video, and that's the identity where you feel very, very, very close, like 50 to 99% of the gender identity. I'll offer an explanation for all of these different identities and everything in the little box down below as the video progresses. Wait, did I even mention that I hit 1,000 subscribers? Thank you all so much for that milestone. I can't believe I forgot to mention that. I thank you all so much for 1,000 subscribers. That is seriously amazing. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I'm doing like a lot of different things in honor of that milestone, by the way. So I'm uploading a video very soon for my birthday. I'll get more into that later. So Iron Bundle comes in. I was able to revenge KO the Ogerpon Wellspring. I ended up sacrificing my Landorus because their last Pokemon was this and Urshifu, and all those Pokemon outsped Landorus. So I thought, you know, I'm going to stay in with my Thunderous Etherean and take out the Iron Bundle. They're obviously going to Terrasilize, and they're going to go for the Hydro Pump. That does big damage, but I'm going to go for the Thunderbolt. Oh my gosh, but it lives! Oh no, that was actually a roll in my favor to take it out, and they just barely lived, and oh my gosh, that's really unfortunate because I swapped in my Darkrai here for the Gender Null flag, and I went for the Sucker Punch, which is able to take out the Iron Bundle, but at this point, I'm like relying on Urshifu to not have Aqua Jet because my Darkrai is a physical Sword Stance set, and I was never gonna KO this Urshifu with whatever it had, and I wasn't sure if it was Choice Banded or Choice Scarf or whatever the item was, but that was why I went Darkrai hard into the Iron Bundle, because if Urshifu swapped in, then I would have stayed in after if I did KO Iron Bundle. I don't know how I would have played this game differently. I'm like kind of spiraling because I thought I had that game. Oh man, I knew that if only that KO'd, but if they weren't choiced in it, I don't think it mattered anyway, and Iron Bundle was always going to be a problem in the end game. But anyway, that's the end of that first game. It was still very close despite the crazy team that I faced. And on to the second game. Now, the opponent is going to lead off with the Sword Stance Air Balloon Sneasler, so I was like, okay, well, you know what? I do Intimidate it, so it's now only at +1, and I'm not going to stress too much about this. I'm going to break his Air Balloon with the U-turn and bring in my Sand Slash. Now, they're going to go for that +1 acrobatics. I am thankfully able to tank that. I was lucky that it did Terrasilize into a flying type, and I'm going to take them out with the Earthquake. Sand Slash has actually naturally good defense, so I was able to get rid of that Pokemon without having to sacrifice anything, which is nice. Except that Excalibur comes in, and I was like, okay, I'm definitely going to have to sacrifice multiple Pokemon just to get rid of this. So I went for the knockoff this turn. I kind of, in hindsight, I definitely should have went for like Earthquake or like Super Fang, but I didn't want this Pokemon to set up multiple Dragon Dances, I guess. And if they did go for like Dragon Dance again, then I don't know. I should have definitely went for a Super Fang or something. I was always obsessed with going for knockoff on the Sand Slash instead of like just going for Super Fang and like missing. That would have been super tragic. But I have to sacrifice my Vivillon here, unfortunately, because my Alolan Sand Slash has Iron Head, and it wasn't in range to take it out, so I needed to go for the Volt Switch on Thunderous in order to put this Excalibur in range for my my Alolan Sand Slash to come in and revenge KO it. Now, it does have Earthquake, and I am Focus Sash. This is actually a really interesting set. I'm running Terra Ghost on this with Snowscape to set up the snow and outspeed things. I'm running Iron Head and Ice Spinner and Endeavor on this. Now, the Snowscape was also helpful for my Vivillon, which had Weather Ball Ice, which is pretty interesting. I have Gender Blank and Gender Null, which are both very different. Gender Blank is an identity where the person who may be feeling gender blank can only describe their gender by like referring to it as a blank space. And I'll write your name. Let me stop. And Darkrai is Gender Null, which is an identity that's basically giving tangibility to the intangible, which is what makes it different from like agender or Neutra flags. So I'm gonna get taken out by the nasty plot Golden Go. I was able to crit flinch it with Iron Head, which is pretty interesting. That actually helped me put it in range for a Thunderbolt from my Thunderous Styrian to take out the Golden Go. So I was like, okay, that's good. I knew that this Thunderous was probably gonna help me hopefully win in this end game. So it was pretty much my win condition in a lot of the games that I played with. This team had a lot of embarrassing losses. It was so bad. So I'm gonna intimidate the incoming Garganackle. I do have Earth Power on this, so if it was like Iron Defense or like fully physically defensive, I could do some big damage. Earth Power was also doing more than Grass Knot in this instance as well. So I thought here, well, I'm gonna get Salt Cured. I am, if I haven't said the investment on this, I'm max speed and I'm max health. So I'm like very speedy, and I have a lot of natural gold bulk as a Landorus, of course. So the Garganackle is going to end up terrestrializing, and it's actually going to go for the Terra Flying this turn. I was like, that's rough because of the fact that my Landorus really can't touch this Garg for anything. And I only have Earth Power, which is obviously immune, and Grass Knot and U-turn on this. And they're going to start setting up the Iron defenses now. So this turn I was like, well, at the very least, they're very weak to my Thunderous Therian. But they have the Sun with Walking Wake in the back. It's a Walking Wake. And I was worried about the Walking Wake being Speed Booster, because if it was like Speed Booster Choice Specs, it was going to be a really big problem for me. It was going to outspeed my my Scarf Thunderous. So I really needed to be careful of that Walking Wake. I actually have Terra Dragon on my Landorus Therian to resist water, so I was hoping that maybe that might come in handy for me. But the Garganackle is going to swap out against my Thunderous, and the Torkoal is going to come in. So they're going to set up the Sun. I'm obviously expecting this Torkoal to be Heat Rock, of course. And this turn I was like, well, if I KO it immediately, I really don't want to KO it immediately because that's going to give Walking Wake more Sun turns. So that's why I opted to swap out, and I'm going to get yawned on my Landorus T incoming. I was thinking that they might go for the Stealth Rock that turn, but I was like, well, I do have U-turn, and I obviously don't want to stay in versus this Torkoal. I could easily threaten it with an Earth Power. I'm not sure if Garganackle would want to come back in, so they are going to bring in the Walking Wake, and they are going to get that Photosynthesis boost, but it's special attack booster. So I was like, that's super ideal. Obviously, this Pokemon is going to hit like a train, but that's really ideal because now my Darkrai can outspeed this, and I can go for the knockoff and do some good damage with the physical set. I'm running a Swords Dance, knockoff, Sucker Punch, and Drain Punch on this, and I actually have Terra Poison as well with the Lumberry. Obviously, I'm going to get blown back by a Hydro Steam because it's special attack boosted, and Walking Wake Hydro Steam is going to do a lot of damage, but I thought, you know what, Thunderous is like perfect in this endgame. They actually hard switched into Garganackle. I was like, what? I'm actually really surprised they did that because this Pokemon is going to get 2-hit KO'd, and that was pretty much the only Pokemon that they had in the back that would be able to tank a Thunderbolt from me. So, yeah, I'm going to 2-hit KO them easily with the Thunderbolt. That's going to be the end of the Garganackle, and I was like, well, their Walking Wake and their Torkoal are both on a low amount of health, and they should easily be picked off by a Thunderbolt from me. I was thinking that they might sacrifice their Torkoal, and then if they brung in their Garganackle after, they could Salt Cure me, and that would do a lot of damage to me, and then maybe they would rely on the Walking Wake in the end game to, like, sweep for them. But I'm going to take out both the Torkoal and the Walking Wake, and that's the end of both games. Thank you all so much for watching. I have a lot of special videos for the 1,000 subscriber special, and my birthday is coming up as well. And I'm going to be filming my face in real life. That's a special hint. Anyway, my name is SkyLaaa. Don't forget to smile, and I will see you all next time.